everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. I am Heather with Rose Hill Paper Cottage, and this is my design team project for Ruby and Pearl XO, and I am sharing this beautiful custom journal I created. This is a writing journal, so lots and lots of space for writing, and it is also quite neutral throughout. The pops of color come in with the florals. So that was kind of the criteria that I was following, is that mostly neutral, lots of florals, and lots of writing space. So on the front here, I created like a little pocket, and I just combined a bunch of different quilt pieces and fabric that I had. And then I did a lot of hand stitching to kind of make everything kind of like flow and match and seem like it was all, one piece from one quilt. That's kind of what I was trying to achieve there. But I love it. I think it turned out beautiful, and it's got to be the largest journal I've ever created. I just love it. I love the patchy look on the back there. I think it's so cute, and I just love all of the different, colors, even though they don't shout at you, they're there, and I think they're just so pretty, and they work so well together. So in the front here, I just put kind of like a little baby journal. And I won't name all the different kits. I'll put all the different kits below. But if there's a particular image that you're looking for, or that you're wanting to use and you can't find it, just let me know the timestamp on the video, and I will do my best to try to figure out what kit that comes from. Because, like I said, I wanted to put pops of color with florals in here, but the main thing was to leave it neutral and lots of writing space. So I went through tons and tons of kits in order to achieve that. So I just did a lot of fun, scrappy pages in here so that, it could just be used for writing down whatever, or, maybe a synopsis of kind of like what this journal is all about. So it's a pretty flexible journal. It has a cardstock cover, inside, but you can see it's got some flexibility. And then a pocket there. And I loved just filling this with all sorts of different, texture, and just, things that were appealing, things that, just looked interesting. When you're working with a neutral palette, it's nice to incorporate other stuff, that, is interesting to see. So that's embossed watercolor paper there. And then that's fabric. I printed on some fabric, and you'll see that there's some more later on. But it's a mixture of digitals and authentic things. So this tag here, it was one of my first Ruby and Pearl projects. It might have been the very first one I ever did, but it's magnetic. And as I've been organizing, if you've been following along with me on Instagram and I've been organizing, I came across this, one of the tags, and I didn't know that I had actually any left over except for the one that's on my mood board. And so I put it in there. And then I took a lot of her, the paper strip kit. I love using those for details to make it, for reinforcement, but then it adds kind of a teensy little bit of color. So I like adding those along the spines of things. That digital right there is actually, in this center spread, is actually a Sampool design. So I put this embossed envelope in here, and then just, added a letter and attached some of my watercolor that I had embossed. So just really fun. This journal is also versatile. So if she wants to glue, down the edges, she can. And a lot of stuff is movable throughout the journal. So here's just some embossed papers, a little bit of that watercolor, and I just, attached them with the brad. So there's a lot of paper clips in here, so that, things could be moved wherever she would like to move them to. She kind of jumps around in her journals, so she doesn't just go, from front to back when she journals. And so this allows that flexibility. So just lots of really pretty, pages and, interesting texture. That is some books spine from like a large ledger. Another floral. So I try to think about, all of the images that I put in there, or the letters, anything that was authentic or digital or whatever, that there was always some sort of writing space on there. But obviously, you can glue down other paper, or, even use like gesso and write over it, things like that. So that is an authentic page from Western Union telegrams that were attached to it. And then I actually attached a Western Union telegram on the corner edge there. And that is watercolor paper again. And then that's an authentic piece of wallpaper. And then, we've all been making those beautiful tracing paper bags that Heather has done a video on. And so that was, those have been so fun to create. So you should check out that video. And then inside, I used her petite paper strips and I printed them out on an adhesive sheet and then, cut those out. Just an old book page. So this is really cute. I really contemplating like stitching it along the bottom there because I thought, man, this is such a cute little pocket. But I wanted to leave that versatility in there in case, they don't want it like that. Or she doesn't want it like that, So I just, I left it open, but I thought it would be so cute, as a pocket as well. I just enjoy clipping all these different things in, and just kind of making things interesting, but without being kind of, overwhelming. So you'll see I did a couple of different layers here where I've added just a lot of extra journaling space, and these could be moved around wherever. And this is actually I can't remember what that said on it, but it was virtually a blank, piece of stationery there. So I was like, well, this is perfect for journaling on as well. And that's an authentic invoice. And that's just some packaging paper that I added on the back of that image there. And I did a double pocket. So like I said, I had printed out on some fabric. So I attached the fabric to sticker paper and then just ran it through the printer and printed out the design. And then I just put it in behind the ledger page that I had flipped up. And then that's another one of those tracing paper bags and another, sticker of the labels and just some book spine. Another pretty tag. So lots of texture, lots of embossing, lots of layers, lots of writing space. And I attached an authentic envelope here. And it was just it wasn't posted. It was just written to Ethel. There was no original letter in it. And so I thought, that's great for writing space as well. Some authentic ledger there. And then a pocket here. So I just added one of the tracing paper images. And then this here, I had printed on the athletic tape, the one that's more of like a fabric. So you have to actually cut it. This is not tearable, as in tearing. You can't tear it. You have to actually cut it. But I'll show it later when I've done a flip out and I've used it as hinges, and it's perfect for that because it's kind of like, like a canvas, linen kind of texture to it. And it's stuck to transparency paper, or well, a transparency. It's not really a paper. That's plastic, really. Well, not really. It is plastic. You get what I mean. So here is a great idea for adding, like if you need a pocket in a journal and it's already a completed journal, or maybe you are a journal maker and then you didn't add one in there. This is completely removable, and I added this later. So this actually had first started out as a tag, and then I decided to attach it to this, really beautiful, tea-stained paper. So it is attached to it, and then now it's like a little corner pocket there. And then I've just, folded it and then put it over the paper. So then it can not only be moved around, but it can also hide or camouflage, maybe some, journaling that you don't want shown. And then here's just some extra pieces from some old ledger and those protectors that go in between the old postcards. That's what I used a lot in this, journal, just to bring in that color. I really, really like it a lot. And then on the other side here, I have a journal card that I had attached to old ledger. That's what I used a lot for most of the authentic papers, is just a lot of, ledger and stuff, because I have a lot of, well, not a lot, but I have some blank, pieces, and I just love the torn kind of look that they have. So I put like a little skinny tag here and some embossed paper at the top. And that is Cluett & Sons, a letter, and then here's the envelope for it. So I did like a little flip out with the envelope. And how perfect is all that, writing space? Now this one is actually attached and you flip it down. So more of a secret journaling spot. And a lot of layering there with that tag. And then here I just took a lot of like different scraps that I had done, or used or whatever. And I just kind of created just like a little, scrap pad here. And then on the other side is one of Ruby and Pearl images, and I have attached it to this tea-dyed paper. And so it's totally perfect for extra writing space as well. Now these I printed out really small, and then I just layered them on there almost like my own, little collage. So it just kind of gives that, 3D kind of effect. So, like in a lot of her kits, she's got like a collage page. But then you can also always print images smaller and, do one yourself. And it just gives that extra added interest. That is watercolor paper. And then here is like kind of a secret little pocket. And I created a little journal card. I also printed on a lot of different, papers. So from, ledger paper to linen paper to just regular copy paper. Now this here is an authentic French invoice. So a little bit fragile, but I just love incorporating, kind of little surprises, within journals. So even though maybe, you could write a little bit on that, but you could definitely write on all three of those sides. And then I created this little like flip out here, like a little flippy kind of tag with some music paper. And then that's another piece of ledger. And then that is just texture paste onto some old like glassine. And I love how Heather's Digitals, they just work so well with, you know, all of the old papers, new papers. They're just, it's almost hard to tell sometimes what's what. So for this tag, I just, attached it with a brad, and then, I just clipped it here to just kind of make it a little bit more secure. But it can, be detached and written on the back. And then I printed one of her, I think maybe that's from the vintage papers, and I printed that on the athletic tape too. And then it's all attached to a transparency, which when I did it, I had it attached to cardstock and then printed it through, but I should have just put it directly to the transparency paper and, or like an acetate sheet, and printed it that way, and it works just fine. So a little pocket there. So I think the majority of the kits that I used was like 38 Rue Bourbon. That's from her Floral Ledger pages. And probably Mademoiselle, Memoire, vintage papers, if I didn't already say that one. That's like a little hidden tuck. A little flippy that I've, attached the brad to. And then here's a little flip out, which is the pocket that I was talking about where I hinged it with that tape. And then here's another piece there. I used her vintage checkered, like the graph paper one. It doesn't really show up on camera, but it's like got a very pale blue line. So I'm showing how I have attached it so that it just kind of swings out. And then I just put like, just some little, little pieces in here from, her kits, and also just old papers, and they can be used for whatever. They could be written on other little journaling spots. That's another adhesive from the petite paper strips. And then that's just an old graph paper with the original staple in it. Now, this image I love so much. I don't know which kit it's from. I can't think right now which one it's from. But I just kind of created like a tag, but then I also attached it to the page. So it's just attached at the edge there. And then, you just fold it all up. And then, it can become a little like tuck spot behind it. And I'll put something behind there. But I think that's just so pretty, even though it's neutral and there's no color whatsoever on it. It's so pretty. I love it. So I was like, I'm just going to leave that tag there. I like it. So to the bottom of that, I just attached like some old ledger, spine or something to it. This is an old, one of the old photo sleeves or envelopes, whatever they would call it. And I just put some old lace on the top, and then I did a stencil on the other side. Well, not a stencil. I did texture paste with the birds. So another perfect spot to like add things inside of it. And I just added another little swivel here. I don't take this part off here, but it's, it's paper clipped on, and there's some layers, and you can take all the things out, and they're just kind of all nestled in, and, you'll see on the other side when I flip it. But it's, just different digital images from Ruby and Pearl. And I don't know. I just, thought that they looked good and were interesting, and they can be journaled on the back. Here's some more images, and this is kind of like a little hidden tag in there. So I hope it has a lot of writing space and enough writing space. But it was such a joy to create. I just loved it. And I just loved incorporating and trying to figure out, like, how do I get more writing space in here? How can I add it, in more spots? Can I make this, flip out or fold or, whatever. So it was, challenging to really, really get a writing journal, because I have a tendency to really overstuff things and not leave room for that. And so that was, this was really fun for me. And that was a little pocket on a pocket. And more writing space there. And a couple little pieces there that are attached to that watercolor paper that can be used for whatever. Another little journaling card. And then there's a couple more, pieces in back here. So like a tag or card, a letter, and then, I embossed some piano paper that I had attached to some tea-dyed paper. So I hope you enjoyed this. Like I said, I used a lot of different digitals. So if there's a particular image that you want to know what kit it's from, I will find that for you. But the overall, theme of it was just to create, something that was neutral and something that was really usable for writing. So I hope you enjoyed it. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Thank you.